Welcome to The Lost Taste. Today, we're diving deep into a holiday table that tells forgotten stories. 16 secret African-American Christmas recipes we forgot. These dishes are rich in heritage, steeped in love, and bursting with flavors that have faded from most modern celebrations. This isn't just a list, it's a culinary time machine. So don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and let us know in the comments which recipe brought back memories or surprised you. Let's rediscover what made Christmas unforgettable in African-American homes. Japanese fruitcake. Despite the name, this classic Southern Christmas cake has nothing to do with Japan. It's a moist spice cake made special by its filling, a thick layer of coconut, citrus zest, and raisins between the layers instead of traditional frosting. Families would bake it in round pans, slice it horizontally, and spread the fruit filling between the layers, letting it rest overnight to deepen the flavors. This was a showcase cake, made only for special gatherings when family from all over would come home for the holidays. The unique mix of textures and flavors, with the chewy coconut and zesty citrus contrasting against the soft cake, made this dessert unforgettable. Grandmothers passed down not just the recipe, but also the ritual, preparing the ingredients slowly, making every part from scratch, and telling the story of the first time they tasted it. Black walnut cake. Black walnuts were foraged and cured, not bought in bags. Their flavor is musky, earthy, and wildly different from regular walnuts. This cake was a luxurious centerpiece, filled with chopped black walnuts and layered with a molasses glaze or a simple boiled icing. Grandparents remembered the hard work of cracking these shells with hammers and rocks, but the flavor was worth it. It wasn't just a dessert, it was an event. The intense, wild flavor reminded elders of the woods, of foraging trips in the fall, and of the wisdom needed to extract the meat from the hardest nutshells. The cake itself was often served with coffee or cider, and guests who got a slice would talk about it all year long. Blackberry jam cake. Made with an entire jar of blackberry jam, this cake was rich and dark with warm spices like cinnamon and cloves. It was one of the best ways to preserve the flavor of summer into winter. Often topped with caramel icing or just powdered sugar, the jam kept it moist for days. It was a Christmas treasure, eaten in slices over morning coffee, late-night chats, or as a midday treat between stories. In homes where fresh fruit was seasonal and precious, jam represented preservation, foresight, and love. The cake was a symbol of planning, a reward for the work of picking berries and making jam months before. Ambrosia, the original version. Today's versions use canned fruit and whipped topping, but the original ambrosia was a winter delicacy. Oranges were peeled and sliced by hand, no shortcuts. Coconuts were cracked, grated fresh. Layered with just a sprinkle of sugar, this dessert was as much about texture as it was taste. Expensive and labor-intensive, ambrosia was made only once a year, a symbol of joy, celebration, and sunshine in the darkest season. Children often helped grate the coconut, a messy but sacred job. When served, it was displayed in crystal bowls and served with pride. Chess pie. This custard pie came from the pantry. Butter, eggs, sugar, and a bit of cornmeal gave it its texture and signature flavor. It's sweet, dense, and caramel-like when baked. Variations included vinegar chess pie for tang or chocolate chess pie for a rich twist. It was the always-there pie, the one that showed up even when nothing else did, because it used what was already in the kitchen. Some families even spiced it with a hint of nutmeg or lemon zest. A slice could last a moment, but the memory of its sweetness lasted all season. Molasses, kisses, drop cookies. These soft, cake-like cookies were shaped by spoons, not cutters, made with sorghum or molasses, ginger, and cinnamon. They were big, bold, and unmistakably Christmas. Kids waited by the oven for them to rise and crack on top. The aroma filled homes and stayed in memory long after. They weren't store-bought perfect, they were homemade perfect. Some variations added chopped apples. Others sprinkled sugar on top. Everyone had their favorite version, and sharing these cookies with neighbors was a cherished tradition. Baked rice pudding. This wasn't the cold, plastic cup version. Real rice pudding was baked slow and low in a casserole dish, with milk, eggs, raisins, and nutmeg. As it baked, it formed a caramelized top layer that cracked like a custard. Served warm with a splash of cream, it was the kind of comfort that wrapped you like a quilt. It was also an economical dessert, stretching a small amount of rice and milk into something rich and nourishing. Families would often serve it after long winter services, or as a nightcap after Christmas dinner. Homemade blackberry or persimmon wine fruit picked in summer was turned into wine by fall. Families used blackberries, wild grapes, or persimmons, letting them ferment with sugar in big jars hidden in pantries or cellars. By Christmas, the wine was ready, strong, sweet, and celebratory. It wasn't about getting drunk. It was about raising a glass to survival, family, and another year of blessings. The flavor was unlike anything store-bought, earthy, sharp, and sweet all at once. Elders would take small sips, share toasts, and speak of ancestors around candlelit tables. Hot cider. Wasail. Wasail was more than spiced cider. It was a ritual. Apples were roasted in the oven until soft, then floated in a pot of hot cider with clove, cinnamon bar, and citrus peel. Sometimes a splash of brandy or rum was added for warmth. Guests were greeted with a cup at the door, a gesture of welcome and cheer. The scent alone transformed homes into festive havens. Some families chanted old Wasail songs, blending traditions across cultures into a uniquely African-American warmth. Oyster stew. In coastal communities, Christmas Eve meant oyster stew. Oysters were inexpensive, and the stew was simple. Fresh oysters simmered gently in milk with butter and a touch of nutmeg. Served with saltines or cornbread, it was rich, elegant, and deeply traditional. The taste of brine and cream became a Christmas memory tied to quiet nights and family prayers. For many, this stew was a pause, a moment of reflection and appreciation for the sea's bounty. Cornbread and oyster dressing. Not your everyday dressing. Christmas meant adding oysters, chopped finely, and folded into cornbread dressing with sage, onion, and broth. The result was savory, rich, and layered in flavor. It honored the sea, the land, and the table all at once. It was a southern masterpiece only made for very special occasions. Some added chopped boiled eggs, others added a dash of hot sauce. Each bite was history and heart. Pecan pralines, the original version. These weren't creamy candies from a box. The original pralines were raw, rustic, and rich. Toasted pecans were cooked in brown sugar or molasses, dropped onto wax paper to cool into hard patties. They shattered when bitten and left fingers sticky. They were made in secret and wrapped in wax paper, passed hand to hand like edible gifts. Children peeked over counters, watching closely, hoping to steal a warm one before it cooled. Mincemeat pie with real meat. Yes, meat. True mincemeat included ground beef or venison, suet, apples, raisins, spices, and brandy. The mixture aged for weeks, developing deep flavor. Baked in a pie crust, it was savory and sweet, old world and comforting. This was a dish of memory, of the Old South, of elders who didn't waste a thing, and of a time when pies weren't just dessert. The smell was intoxicating, the taste complex, and the feeling it gave. A link to a lineage that cooked with everything they had. Smothered quail or fried rabbit before butterballs and honey hams. Meat was caught, not bought. Quail and rabbit were holiday delicacies. Fried until crispy or smothered in onion gravy and simmered, they were served with rice, greens, and cornbread. Christmas dinner wasn't about luxury. It was about love, resourcefulness, and community. These dishes told stories of hunts, of early mornings, of making do and making joy. Summer. Pudding in winter. Stale bread was layered in a bowl with fruit preserved from summer, blackberries, peaches, or plums. Pressed overnight, the bread absorbed every drop of juice, turning into a soft, chilled pudding. Topped with cream, It was the taste of July in December. This was a celebration of seasons, of saving, and of bringing light into winter. It showed that nothing was wasted and that memories could be tasted. Tippin, sweet potato bread. Tippin was dense, rich, and flavorful. Sweet potato puree was mixed with molasses, spices, and sometimes chopped nuts or raisins. Baked in a loaf pan, it sliced like banana bread and tasted like pie without the crust. Eaten warm on Christmas morning with butter, it was joy in a slice, the quiet kind that came from tradition. Grandparents would serve it with strong coffee, and its scent would signal that Christmas had truly arrived. These 16 secret African-American Christmas recipes are more than forgotten flavors. They're stories, symbols, and survival. They remind us that Christmas wasn't just about gifts, but about gathering, remembering, and honoring those who cooked before us. If you want to help preserve this legacy, hit that like button, subscribe to The Lost Taste, and tell us in the comments which recipe you've tried or want to bring back. And remember, this video is for educational purposes and does not replace health or dietary advice. Want more like this? Don't miss our next video. We're just getting started rediscovering the lost taste.